All right, so I want to go over exactly how scaling actually works on the advertising side for fashion brands online. And I find this will be very helpful, especially if you feel like you're stagnant on where you're currently at, you feel like you're not scaling fast enough, and you feel like your competitors are just doing way higher numbers than you, and you're just not sure why, right? So typically this is for if you're already advertising, so you have a better sense of it. So I'll go over exactly why brands tend to be stagnant where they are and how to actually scale. So here's the reason why they're mostly stagnant. It's because let's say you're doing like, I don't know, 50 to 50K to like, I don't know, 55K per month, right? Maybe you're spending about, if you're spending, let's say your spend is 1,500 to like 3K, right? And let's say you're getting high ROAS. For example, your ROAS is like a 7 to like an 8. And let's say this is how your funnel is split. Top of funnel is like, let's say 60%. And your middle and bottom is 40%. Right, and let's say you feel like you're stuck. Now, one of the main reasons, there are multiple reasons why you may feel stagnant and that you're not at the level your competitors are doing. Number one is that you're spending way too little. If you're spending that much, you're only targeting, let's say this is the market. You're probably only hitting like this much of it. So you're probably here if you're spending that little. Because if you're spending 15 to 3K, you can't expect scale at that, right? And now let's say your funnel is split like this: 60% top and MOF, BOF 40%. There's actually a big opportunity cost by you spending this much on MOF and BOF. The reason is because you're actually cannibalizing your marketing efforts. I'm sure you have email marketing and SMS marketing. That's already doing the back-end marketing for you, for customers. And now you're spending an additional 40% of your entire budget to remarket to existing customers is too much. You're wasting advertising dollars on your existing customers when that could be allocated to top of funnel. So you don't have enough focus on top of funnel to really scale in cold audiences. Because imagine, right? Let's say I use where's my handy dandy calculator? 40% of 1,500 is already $600. Say 600. 3,000 times 40%. To like $1,200. Right? That's almost half of your spend already on your existing customers. These are the two main reasons why you're stagnant. But you may like your ROAS, right? Like your 7 to 8 ROAS. Wow, that's high. Yes, it's high, but you're actually not scaling and growing because you're just staying in this pocket of the market. And you're not expanding and focusing on new customers. Your biggest opportunity in the biggest market for you is new customers, top of funnel, people who have never heard from you, strangers who have never heard from you, to get them to buy. That is the biggest market, and that's how you ultimately scale. Right? You cannot just scale by remarketing to your existing customers a lot. So this is one of the main reasons why you'd be stagnant and you're wondering how come you're not going fast enough. It's because you're just focusing on your existing pool and you're not expanding to the other opportunity here, right? Which is AKA cold. Now, two things. Here's how you can change this and scale. Number one, instead of doing 60% MOF, 60%, 40%, you do, so how to scale? You do 96% top and only 4% MOF, BOF. This is how you focus almost all your budget on new customers and testing, because it requires a lot of testing to always find new audiences and scale there, right? Because you want to hit, so actually I'll dive into that after, and then 4% middle and bottom of funnel. Because you don't want to neglect them completely, right? So that's why 4% is enough. It's just enough to satisfy and remarket to MOF and BOF. That way, instead of hitting just this part of the market, right, you're hitting everything else. So imagine it's like a pie. And before, you're just hitting this part. Now we're always testing, okay, this audience, this audience, this audience, this audience, this audience. And find what creators resonate, and then you can scale in those audiences. That's how you can dominate the market, by getting new customers. Secondly, spend obviously has to increase because you just can't, you could shift the budget with just this funnel, but if you're spending only that little, you're not getting anywhere. So you have to scale. Now, this is how scale works. Oh, like what if my ROAS drops? Can I get I want a 10x, 15x ROAS, or I want to maintain this ROAS, right? Isn't it I don't need to be profitable. Now, here's the thing. Number one, how scale works is that as you scale the cold audiences, right? The colder you get, the less trust they will have, right? Equals less trust. And naturally, less conversions. All right, squeeze that in. And typically what happens is because as you scale to new audiences and you're always testing new audiences, your ROAS tends to go down. And that's just part of scale, right? Because you're reaching to newer and newer people and they don't know, they've never heard of your brand before. And you're also competing against other brands that want their wallets to get them to become new customers as well. So as you scale, typically the ROAS tends to go down. That's how scale works. So you can't expect, let's say you're doing a 7 and 8 to hit a 12 to 15 or 10 to 15. What if your goal is to actually scale and grow big to new audience? Because this is the only way to go big. You can't expect your ROAS to go up as colder you get. Economically and just simple common sense, it just doesn't work like that. Right. So that's how scale actually works. So the question is, how can you remain profitable while still scaling? Right? Now, there is one way we can mitigate this ROAS from dropping down with viral engagement. That's something I cover perhaps in the document you'll see in the description. However, just for this video, one of the ways to make sure that you are always profitable while you scale is to understand what exactly is your break-even return on ad spend, break-even ROAS. So for example, let's pretend your net margin is, so I'll say net margin is 40%. And let's say you're just doing this in-house as an example. How do you make sure you're profitable? Well, it's very simple. How do you calculate break-even ROAS? You divide 1 divided by 40%, right, handy in a calculator, which is a 2.5. So now you know if you hit a 2.5, that means you're just breaking even because then you're using your net margin as a calculation. That means that as long as you're above a 2.5, then you are profitable. That means you can technically infinitely scale. So let's say you're hitting at a 3 ROAS. So let's say you're at a 3 ROAS, right? This Picasso artboard, 3 ROAS. That means you can pump as much spend as you want because you know you're above a 2.5. That means you're profitable, right? That means you just keep, as long as it's above a 2.5, let's say you're hitting a 3, just keep spending. And that's how you keep capturing the whole market, right? That means you're testing audiences, testing creatives, finding resonance, finding virality, boom, scale, scale, scale. So you can keep pumping the spend as long as it's like this. Right? This could even drop to like a 2, let's say it drops to like a 2.9 or 2.8. You're still above 2.5. That's okay. You're still crushing it, right? So hope that illustrates to you exactly how scale works and just clear some misconceptions that maybe some brands may have if they're in this current stage on the left, right? So it goes there. I'll show you like what the funnel changes you should make with the funnel and how you have to spend and how scale works and how to do the calculation to make sure that you're always profitable on the front end on your business on the advertising side, and so that you can always keep scaling. All right. If you found that useful, I would appreciate a subscription, subscribe, and you can check out all the other fashion content we have that I'd like to give you practical advice on, like I say, where the market is and strategy and tactics you can use to continue growing your fashion brand online. If you'd like to explore working with us, then you can see in the video description, you can do due diligence on the brands we work with, my background in fashion, the latest results, everything is there for your due diligence. And if you're interested, you can just book a call with the link I have in the description, and we can talk together to understand your brand more. So if you'd like to see more of this content, subscribe, look up more. But if you're interested in working with us, do your due diligence and book a call.